An auto attendant is a robust voice services tool that allows you to automatically manage many inbound calls at once without the need of a live telephone operator or receptionist. The attendant can be used to provide callers with general information from audio greetings, allow callers to be transferred to a service or extension by using voice menus, and automatically route calls in your organization based on your business's scheduled work hours. To access your auto attendant, log into your control panel and click the icon for Voice Services. Alternatively, you can access voice services from anywhere on the control panel by clicking Services, then clicking Voice Services. Next, click on the Auto Attendants tab from the left navigation. To the right, you will see a list of any attendants already created. To create a new attendant, click on the Create Auto Attendant button. Set up the auto attendant by giving it a name, an extension number, and assigning a direct dial number. Click on Create Auto Attendant to continue. You will receive a confirmation pop-up advising you of any current fees to be charged at the time of creation and the monthly recurring charge that will be added to your bill. Click Confirm to acknowledge the charges and finish the attendant setup. You will be returned to the auto attendant list where you can see the new attendant, as well as its direct dial number and extension listed to the right. There are still some configurations needed before the auto attendant can be of use. Click the name of the new auto attendant to enter the general settings. On the next window, you have the ability to quickly update the general auto attendant settings, such as changing the display name, updating the extension number, and adjusting the email for voicemail notifications. You can also assign additional telephone numbers to the auto attendant by clicking Manage Phone Numbers. Click Assign Phone Number, select a number, and click Assign. If there are any applicable fees or charges, you will be notified and must confirm the charges on the Totals pop-up window. Once complete, you will be returned to the auto attendant's phone numbers management list. Your number will be shown to the right. If you assigned a toll-free number, you can adjust the payment plan for the toll-free service by clicking the text link to the right of the number. Click To Auto Attendant to get back to the general settings. The timeout setting allows you to adjust the amount of time a call will sit in an auto attendant before completing to a follow-up action. The current timeout is set for 30 seconds by default. After 30 seconds has elapsed, the auto attendant will route the caller to the timeout action. You can see the timeout action at the bottom of your menu options. Click the timeout link to access the timeout action configurations. You can adjust the timeout to perform any of the available menu actions, like forwarding to a hunt group or voicemail, or simply repeating the menu greeting. Dial by extension allows callers to dial an extension number while they're holding in the auto attendant. This is enabled by default, and you can simply click the text link to disable or enable this feature at any time. The main section of the auto attendant is the business hours menu, which contains the business hours settings, greeting configurations, and the menu dial pad where you can set additional routing options for callers. There is a menu greeting applied by default that can be used with dial by extension. This can be previewed by clicking the Play Greeting link. The greeting player will open and automatically play the audio file.
Thank you for calling. Please enter the extension of the party you wish to call.
You can upload a new greeting to the business hours menu by clicking the Edit link. Choose an audio file and click the Upload button. Alternatively, you can record the menu greeting from any phone. Click Record Greeting via phone to access the menu PIN. Devices on the account can dial the extension number followed by the PIN during the first ring, whereas a cell phone or landline must dial the attendant's direct dial number, again followed by the PIN during the first ring. The menu options are a physical representation of a phone's dial pad, each box corresponding to a number and appropriate action selected for that option. Clicking a button brings up an edit window for that number, and allows you to select from a list of pre-generated options. You can forward calls to a hunt group or directly to a user, forward calls to a user's voicemail or the main company voicemail box, or forward a call to a different auto attendant. You also have the ability to create submenus, allowing you to have another set of menu options for a caller to choose from. Click Add Submenu, type in a descriptive name, then click the Add Submenu button. The submenu will be generated and you will see its menu options on the left-hand side of the page. You can click the submenu name on the left to open the menu for editing. You have the same menu actions that are available in the Business Hours menu, so you can set up a new menu and record a special greeting to direct callers through this submenu. After you have entered your preferred actions, you can use the Back to Parent action to allow the caller to get back to the previous menu during the call. Once you're satisfied with your submenu, you can click the Auto Attendant title at the top left of the screen to access the main Business Hours menu again. Some additional actions you have access to are Dial by Name Directory, forward calls to a PSTN phone number, or finally hang up or disconnect the call. With the actions available, you can personalize each auto attendant and all subsequent menus to fit your business and customer needs, as well as create an expansive automated directory to fine-tune call routing. To enable the After Hours menu, you must configure your business hours schedule. You can access the schedule from the main menu by clicking the Business Hours link, or by clicking the After Hours tab at the top left to access the After Hours menu. The scheduling settings for the After Hours menu advises you that your business hours are not set and the menu options are not initially seen. Click the Business Hours link to access the schedule settings. Selecting the Custom Radio button will let you create a start and end time for each day of the week, allowing you to specify what time of day your business is open and ready to accept phone calls. Select your preferred business hours and click Save Changes. When you are returned to the After Hours menu, you will see your menu options available and ready to configure. The After Hours menu is meant to help customers that call outside of your business hours. With the actions available, you can easily create routes for different voicemail boxes, or create an option to dial out to a PSTN number for emergency after hours assistance. You may want to turn off dial by extension to avoid callers from being able to ring devices after hours. You can access your Business Hours menu again simply by clicking the Business Hours tab on the top left. Once you're done configuring your auto attendant, click Back to Auto Attendant List. On the auto attendant list, you have the additional option of adding a receptionist group to any auto attendant. The receptionist group will allow you to route incoming calls directly to users or devices to ring first, then forward the caller back to the auto attendant menu. Click Add Receptionist Group to continue. Under the General settings, assign the group an identifying name to easily recognize the group in the control panel on the auto attendant list. Then assign a display name. This name will be tagged to the caller ID information when a user receives a call from the group. Adjust the timeout as you see fit, which will send callers back to the auto attendant menu after that time has elapsed. Finally, you can set a schedule for the receptionist group. This is extremely useful if you might have to change the users receiving the initial calls at different times of the day. You have the option of selecting Weekdays Only, setting the start and end time that the group should be active, Custom, which allows you to include weekends into your hours, and lastly 24/7, which means the calls will always be forwarded to this group prior to ringing the auto attendant business hours or after hours menu. Click Next to continue setting up your receptionist group. Under the receptionist settings, you can add receptionist agents by clicking Add User. Select any users or resource accounts you want to receive calls and click the Add button. You also have the option of adding a 10-digit phone number as a receptionist, allowing you to ring a device on a different service provider or cell phone if you wish. When you're satisfied with your settings, click Create Receptionist Group. You will be returned to the receptionist group list for the auto attendant you are managing, and can see the new group listed with the group name and scheduled hours. You are able to create multiple receptionist groups for every individual auto attendant, each with their own custom schedules and designated receptionist agents to automatically adjust your initial call routing. For example, if your receptionists take lunch at the same time every day, A receptionist group for the lunch period could be created to forward calls to a different set of users during that time. It is important to remember that groups in this list that are higher in order take precedence over lower groups. This means if your first receptionist group starts earlier than the next group in line, the latter group will not be included in the daily schedule. To correct this, drag the later scheduled group to the top of the list. The page will refresh, and the schedule will list the times that the receptionist groups will be active. From the group list, you have the option to enable or disable a group manually. Disabling a group will prevent it from being active during its scheduled hours. Finally, you can delete any receptionist groups created by clicking the Delete link and confirming your action. Click To Auto Attendants to return to the auto attendant list. The final option available to auto attendants is the Call Routing Override. This feature allows you to forward incoming calls to a different service or user and temporarily prevent the auto attendant menu from being accessed. Click on the Disabled text link to open the Call Routing Override configurations. This call routing will only occur if the enabled checkbox is checked. Once enabled, you can forward calls to any extension on the account, including users, resources, groups, and other auto attendants. Or you can forward directly to a phone number. Once you've made your selection, click Save Changes to continue. You are returned to the auto attendant list where you can see the call routing override enabled and a quick view of where calls are being forwarded to. To stop the call routing, click the extension number link and uncheck the enabled checkbox. Then click Save Changes.